Orders to go home. It came in a yellow envelope, just like the first one. Same size, same paper, same quiet weight in my hands. But this time, it didn't take something away. It gave something back. Orders to go home. After 12 months of heat, monsoon rains, firefights, and waiting. After counting too many body bags and writing too few letters, I was going back. My hands trembled again, like they did the first time I was drafted, but this trembling felt different. It wasn't fear, it was disbelief. It was fragile hope, trying to breathe again. No one celebrated. There were no hugs, no cheers. Leaving felt like betrayal. Like I was sneaking out while my brothers still stood in the mud, shoulders heavy, eyes tired, futures uncertain. We didn't talk about it. They knew. I packed in silence, a few crumpled photographs, a worn-out notebook I never finished, a flag I didn't know whether to honor or question. One guy slapped my back and muttered, "Don't look back, man." But I did. I couldn't help it. Some part of me was staying behind. Maybe the boy I used to be. Maybe a version I'd never see again. The sun looked different that morning. The C-130 waited on the tarmac, its ramp yawning open like a giant mouth. As we lifted off, I looked out the window. Jungle below, sky above, and a silence that didn't feel like fear anymore. It felt like release, like a chapter ending with no punctuation, only breath. The last night in Vietnam. They said it was just another night, but I knew better. It was the last, my final night in a place that had changed me forever. The air was thick, not with smoke or fear this time, but with something quieter, heavier, like the jungle itself knew I was leaving. The cicadas still buzzed, distant howls echoed, but the camp was different, still, watchful. I sat alone by the fire, my boots dry for once, my rifle leaning against a log I hoped I'd never need again. Around me, shadows flickered across faces that had become family, some scarred, some silent, all tired. Someone passed me a canteen, no words, just a look that said, "Don't forget us." I wouldn't. I couldn't. We didn't share stories that night. We didn't toast or sing. There was no celebration, just breathing, just presence. Every inhale like it might be our last as brothers. Because tomorrow, I wouldn't be one of them anymore. I traced my fingers along the rim of my helmet, counted the scratches. I remembered the first time I put it on. Too big, too heavy, too real. Now it felt like skin. In my pocket was a letter I never sent, addressed to no one, scribbled during a rainstorm months ago. I almost read it. Almost. But I folded it back. Some truths belong only to the night. Nearby, someone cried. Not loud, just enough to be heard by those who were meant to hear it. I lay down on my cot, stared at the tarp above me, wondered what silence would sound like without gunfire, wondered what my mother would say when she saw me, wondered if I'd recognize myself in her eyes. Sleep came like a memory, fragmented, fading, and when the first light bled through the leaves, I didn't feel relief. I felt grief. Grief for the boy I was, grief for the brothers I would leave behind, and grief for the country that would never feel like home again, even after I returned. That was my last night in Vietnam. Not a battle, Not a movie ending, just a fire, a helmet, a few unspoken truths, and the silence of men learning how to let go. The plane ride and the quiet window. The plane was louder than I remembered. The engine screamed like they were trying to tear the sky in half, and yet inside it was quiet. We were packed in rows, knees brushing against knees, duffel bags between our boots. No one spoke. Not really. A few forced laughs, a cough, the clank of metal zippers, but mostly silence. I sat by the window, not because I wanted the view, but because I needed the space, something to look at, somewhere to place the weight of everything I couldn't say. Below us, Vietnam faded fast. The jungle was still green, the rivers still winding, but it all looked like a memory that had already started to disappear. I watched it go, not because I loved it, but because it had been my world, my war, my time. The guy next to me had his eyes closed, lips moving, maybe in prayer, maybe just counting seconds. I didn't ask. I reached into my pocket, pulled out Emily's photo, the edges soft from handling, colors worn by sweat and fear. I stared at her smile and tried to remember what peace felt like. Every bump in the air made my stomach jump. I wasn't scared of crashing. I was scared of landing, scared of what waited for me. A country that moved on, a town that didn't know who I was anymore, a family that remembered the boy but not the man. Somewhere over the ocean, someone started crying. It wasn't loud, just steady, and no one turned around. We all understood. I leaned my forehead against the window. It was cool, almost comforting. The sky beyond was endless, the clouds beneath, soft like promises. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't think about surviving. I thought about living. We didn't land as soldiers. We landed as ghosts, quiet, changed, unsure. And when the wheels touched ground, I didn't cheer. I just whispered, "I'm home," even if I didn't recognize the place anymore. Coming home was not the end of the story. For many of us, it was just the beginning of another war. Quieter, lonelier, but just as real. We may have left Vietnam, but Vietnam never truly left us.